Ahoy, shipmates! Bit of a land-based activity today in the north of the country in Macclesfield. Popped into the Nag's Head for a swift pint with a rum chaser, and the chap said to me, "We've got some steps outside, 108 of them."
Have you ever heard of the 39 steps?
No, what's that, a pub?
Never mind.
And it's somewhat put me in mind of one of my favourite films, The 39 Steps, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Came out in 1935. Never quite find out what the 39 steps are. It's a bit of an illusion. But anyway, whenever someone says to me there's some number of things here or there, I'm always a little sceptical, so didn't want to take the landlord's word for it, so I thought I'd take a walk up the steps on the way to St. Michael's Church and count them as I go, just to make sure there is 108 of them. We are a long way from the sea here in Macclesfield. It's the north of England rather than the north of the entire country. Somewhere in the middle. Southampton, obviously, where most of our broadcasts come from, is in the very bottom. Quite an interesting town, Macclesfield. You notice this with many of the northern towns compared to the southern towns. During the Industrial Revolution, they were very wealthy and many fantastic buildings were built, and they didn't get bombed during the Second World War. But we've reached the top of the steps, and I can confirm there is 108 of them. And lo and behold, there's a sign that says 108 steps. There we go. They weren't telling any porcupines. There's not, I have to say, there's not a lot going on in Macclesfield. It's not particularly dynamic. And in fact, the Sunday Times in 2004 described Macclesfield and its borough as the most uncultured town in Britain, based on its lack of theatres, cinemas and other cultural facilities. I think that's a little harsh, but I'm sure they've done their research. We're just walking round the boundary now of the St. Michael's Church. I believe parts of that date back to somewhere around the 1400s. You don't see cobbled streets very often in the south of the country. That's quite a change. It's really got a nice vibe to the city. The town. And here's the St. Michael's and All Angels Church. Unfortunately, the church was closed. It's too early in the morning. Otherwise, I'd have gone in and tried to have taken some pictures of the lovely stained glass. Those of you more familiar with British popular culture, maybe you might have heard of David Dickerson. He's a flamboyant antiques expert, and he's from the town of Macclesfield. And I didn't know this one, but the BBC's political correspondent Nick Robinson, he's also from Macclesfield. And more popularly, one that's my father told me about, and I remember Brian Redhead from the Radio 4's Today programme. Apparently he's from Macclesfield as well, and I always delighted in bringing Macclesfield into any conversation he could. And musically, there's a number of musicians from Macclesfield. Probably the one we've heard of the most is Noddy Holder. He's also from Macclesfield. So anyway, I lap around the church, and then on the other side is another set of steps. I didn't actually count these, but then these didn't have a numeric value attached to their name. They were just called Steep Hill. I think it was a pretty fair description, frankly, as far as I can see. The current big industry in the town of Macclesfield, and this is a company that we're all very familiar with these days, and probably not so familiar in the past. AstraZeneca, the world's largest pharmaceutical company. There's also an interesting furniture store here, which has a name that sounds very Italian. Arrighi Blanchi. I'm sure I've pronounced that correctly. Founded in 1829. It's quite impressive. It's actually, as we get down here to the bottom of the hill, that is in fact it's just sort of across the car park. Again, unfortunately that wasn't open either, otherwise I would have had a look around there. Might have had some nautical paraphernalia. And here we go, we are at the bottom of Steep Hill. Well, I've just thought I'd make a little quick video for you, shipmates, and just remind you that the cameras will be coming online shortly. I just need to do a bit of administrative work here and there. I'm probably looking at around a couple of weeks, I would think, before I get things connected and sorted out and do a whole lot of emails to various people. Well, then we will have live cameras returning and live streams returning. And I don't think we'll see much ship traffic for the next couple of weeks anyway, so you're not going to miss much. But we'll be returning, I would think, probably somewhere in the middle of February. So, till next time, shipmates.